welcome Disney legend, Robin Roberts.
I normally say good morning, America, but I'm saying good morning, D23 superfans that are here. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, it's not my first rodeo. I was here when I was inducted as a legend in 2019. Please hold your applause. But I fell in love with you all. And I wanted to come back, in part, to say thank you. Because I mean that. I heard a all. Because I mean sincere, because you remind us of why we do what we do at Disney. And thank you for not only embracing us, but challenging us to be as creative as you. So we got a wonderful conversation. I cannot wait for you to meet these 4 Disney legends. The first legend that I'm going to introduce is, let's just say she's the belle of this ball. Please welcome Susan Egan! Yes! Susan! Take a seat, baby. All right. This animator has brought the characters that we have been blessed to grow up with. He has brought them to life. Please welcome Disney legend Eric Goldberg. Yes! You talk about a legend. Oh, I love what you're wearing, little Looney Tunes. Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. This Imagineer is not only a Disney legend, she is a Disney legacy. Please welcome Kim Irvine. Thank you, Kim. Pretty and pink. Wow. All right. If you don't know this next legend's name, you certainly know his voice, because he has voiced everything from a king to a chicken. Alan Tudyk, ladies and gentlemen. Alan. Woo. Please all take a seat. One and all. Oh, it feels good to sit down, doesn't it? We've had a chance backstage to spend some time together, and I wish that we had a camera back there, because the way we were all talking with one another and so inquisitive and just so happy to be together like this. And before I drill down into more about why you are here and why you are the legends that you are, I just want you to come and give us a secret sauce a little bit. I want to know the creative process. What do you bring the creative process to every project that you come to?
I mean, I think the source material is always great, and understanding when you work with this company, you're always surrounded by truly the most incredible creatives and technicians and innovators in the industry, in the world. And so drawing off of what they're doing. So for instance, I mean, Eric and I both worked on Hercules. So as a voice actor walking in, looking at the character sketches and the storyboards, you can't help but be inspired.
Yeah, right, I love that, because a lot of you have worked together. Okay, Eric, how about for you?
Can you repeat the question?
The creative process.
Oh, creative process.
Yes.
I don't have one. You know, for an animator, you can't just start drawing. You have to know who the character is first. You have to figure out how, and Susan's talking about Hercules. I animated Phil in Hercules, and we had to know who he was. He was a coach washout. He was a character not unlike the coach in Rocky,
Right.
who was a failure at everything that he did, and he had that in him, so he was a cynic. And we knew that he had to be that, add the layer on top. He also was half goat, so I had to give him goat mannerisms in the animation.
Yeah. And you still like paper.
Yeah, I still draw animate on paper.
Oh, I love that. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. But Kim, thank you. Can't wait to get to the park later today. And what you have brought to what Walt wanted for everybody. So just talk about your creative process.
Well, working in the model shop at Walt Disney Imagineering used to be WED Enterprises for so long. You really learned to collaborate as a model builder because you were working with the art directors who would create these beautiful ideas, and you were working with other sculptors like Blaine Gibson, and it really was like a big family where we talked about all of it, and it always made us excited. And they would also be able to share all the stories of Walt and the creation of Disneyland, which was, so inspiring, and they were firsthand working with him. So our creative process, we try to keep very much the same. A lot of collaborating, a lot of research, a lot of working together as a team to make things happen.
And don't you keep people in mind when you're doing things, like what the joy that it's going to bring them?
Constantly.
Yeah.
And it's hard because our job as a land team, we don't really get to go to the park and say, we want to build a huge mountain with a roller coaster in it for millions of dollars. They really come up with what they need. So the lines of business, like if, operations that says we need a much bigger queue for Haunted Mansion because of the huge line that clogs up New Orleans. Then we take that and think, what is the best way to do this with all the show and all the original intent of that attraction?
Yeah, and you bring it every single time, you and the Imagineers, bless y'all.
Thank
Hey, Alan, okay, I lost how many characters? I lost how many characters you've voiced.
Yeah, I started out with King Candy and Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was my introduction. That was the first time I worked with Disney. And that process was a little different. Everyone is a little different from the last and the next. I knew that they wanted an Ed Wynn voice, who's a big Walt Disney voice actor and who had done. I knew him originally from Mary Poppins, because he was the one who he loved to laugh. I was stuck on the ceiling, and so my agent told them, oh yeah, Alan can do that, and then she called me and said, can you do that? And so I came to Pixar and did the read-through and just sort of started playing with it there, and but then the Duke of Wesselton from Frozen, that's it. It's water in one of its forms. Frozen. I was originally some other character, and then they showed me some pictures of this old man, and they're like, what about this? Because they had to cut the other character. He was like this butler who loved cheese. And, but they're like, oh wait, the girls can't have any kind of parent, so we need this. But they just said, here he is. And a lot of times it has been just a picture, and you look at it that has been, it's just been drawn. And it started out like an old man, but he was royalty, so he became a little bit, and then sorcery, then he was paranoid, and then so he became a little bit more, but he was also an idiot. And they're all very different. I got to with Wish, Valentino, there was an animation of him, which I had so much fun making him, but and they don't give it to you before. They're just like in the room. Here we go. Alan, there it is. What do you want to do? And we tried a lot of different things until it became this lower register voice, and which was so ridiculous. And in the booth, I said, who knew my voice would be so low? And then they put that in the movie. And,
did you get credit for that?
No. I mean, I'm getting it now.
No, yeah, right, there you go.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The credit that really matters. Anytime in your responses, if you want to go into the characters' voices, it's fine with us.
Okay,
We love that. Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast, Susan. I mean, it really brought Disney to Broadway. It was the first. It was
did.
the first.
It's such a foregone conclusion 32 years later that Disney belongs on Broadway, and obviously they have dozens and dozens of shows now, but at the time, it was actually, I don't know if you remember, it was very controversial. They were not very welcomed into the family. There were 5 families that produced all Broadway shows, and Disney didn't collaborate with any of them. They came in and they did it themselves, and then they're like, we don't want to pay rent at a theater, we'll buy a theater. And then they redid 42nd Street. And, you know, they just came in, and it was, so we weren't very welcomed, and we didn't know if it would work. Nobody had taken movie IP, certainly not an animated feature, and brought it to life before.
And there was a lot of pressure because Beauty and the Beast was nominated
For
for
an
Best
Academy
Picture.
Award for Best Picture.
And that was the
There was
first
no-
time. That was the
That's
first
right.
time that an animated film.
That's right, there was no category yet for animated feature.
Right. So what was not a foregone conclusion that it was
Yes.
going to be a success on the stage.
And they really worked on how true to the movie did they need to be, to the point where, you know, Terry Mann, who was the Beast, would wear lifts and I was in flats, so we would be the exact ratio silhouette of the movie poster, do you know? And then they learned through the process of Beauty and the Beast that audiences will go with you on any adventure, and they want to. And the very next play that they did was Lion King, which was so different from the movie
Yes.
in its look, with Julie Taymor, Disney legend Julie Taymor. And so Beauty and the Beast was that process, and it was a joy to sort of sit there and be a fly on the wall and watch how it became
Yeah.
the Disney theatrical now, Disney on Broadway.
I know now that we take.
Now it's obvious,
Okay.
yeah.
But at the same time that you're playing Belle, you get this little role in Hercules, Meg. Okay?
Well.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So I mean, that's quite a difference.
So they wouldn't let me audition because Belle and Meg are very different.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me audition, but they had to see me every day. It was the same team as Beauty and the Beast, and so they finally gave me 5 minutes before the audition started. And I didn't know this till yesterday, but Ron told me that I was the first one to audition. So I went into that room, and I saw all the girls in the waiting room, all these Broadway gals, and they wanted to go back to Broadway to find somebody to be the singing and speaking voice, to be the same actress, and they let me come in, and I did my audition. What they didn't know was, you know, Belle, I was acting, but Meg is right where I live, like the sarcasm and where my voice sits. And,
Right.
yeah, and she was written to be a 1930s, you know, femme fatale, and I love those movies and the cadence of the speaking. You think of Lauren Bacall, you know, if you need me, just whistle. You know how to whistle, don't you? You pucker up your lips and below. And Ron and John's script was so excellent that it just led to it, you know. Meg,
Yeah.
my friends call me Meg. At least I was just mimicking, you know, Alan Tudyk. I was inspired by Alan Tudyk.
But in the same way, and I want to ask this of you too, Alan, because what the process, the creative and the mental process of voicing a character and then being an actor in live. I mean, how do you all deal with the difference between that?
I've had. That's a good question.
Thank you very much. What I do for a living.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you can answer this better. I mean, I've done
I
something.
mean, honestly, it's the same answer Eric had, where it always starts with the character.
Right.
So if I'm doing something that's in close-up, the execution of it might be different than if we're in a theater where, you know, the balcony is out there, you'll project a little farther. But, you know, it's the same. Then it was interesting in the booth, because I'm a stage actress. I had never done voiceover. And I realized I don't have my face, I don't have my mannerisms to tell this story. I really only have my voice. And I'm in the booth doing Meg thinking, actually, past the 10th row, they also don't have my face. And it changed the way I performed on stage to become more emotive vocally. So I feel like these different platforms, these different genres inform each other. I learned something from each version, whether I'm doing film or television or stage or voiceover. They inform each other.
I had the benefit of doing it's this motion capture, sort of this hybrid between the two worlds of you are there on set every day, you're in a motion capture suit, but at the end of the process, the thing that the people see, they don't see your face. So it becomes a very theatrical performance. I did K2SO in Rogue One. So I was on stilts, which is a very theatrical thing that you might end up doing. That's something they did what was one you just mentioned?
Lion King. They've got.
Oh yeah, Lion
they've got
King. They
animals
had
on
stilts and they had all sorts of puppeteering and things going on there. So I was in stilts. I was 7-something feet tall, which I miss. And being tall is really great.
What's it like?
You must love it. Because it really is.
I always say I'm 5'10" and worth the climb. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hold on. I'm here all week. Thank you.
Public restrooms were weird, though, I must say. Or the restrooms, anyway, because I could see over all the stalls as I walked in. Tom.
TMI.
Oh, sorry.
TMI.
Where are you,
Yeah,
Alan?
yes,
In
yes,
Disney?
yes.
Right.
Know your audience.
Legend. But yeah, it's a wild thing. You're there on the day, so you get the back and forth of the actors, which is essential in acting, is on film, because what you say to someone on the day, they react to that, and so you have to be, you're playing that tennis match back and forth.
Yeah.
But it is there's a vocal performance that you have to construct and consider when you're working. Also physically, you have to consider, at least what I did with K2SO, he has fixed eyes and he doesn't have a movable mouth. So it became a physical performance about, almost like dance, how you emote through your movement in moments. But yeah.
You know who's a giant on this stage? Is man sitting right there in the middle. Yeah. Don't let the size fool you. Don't let the frame fool you, right, Eric? Let's go back to the 1980s. Oh, London-based. You had this company. What was the name of the company?
Pizzazz Pictures.
But say it like a Brit.
Okay, well, they didn't know the term pizzazz in London when we started the company, so they'd ring the doorbell. Ding dong. Hello, is this Pizza Pictures? Yeah, come on up.
But you were doing animated television commercials.
That's right.
At the time.
So I was doing commercials for the UK. I had started out working with Richard Williams doing commercials, and eventually opened my own company with two ex-Williamites, and we started doing TV ads.
How did you make the transition, though, from the television ads to feature films?
Well, here's the funny thing. It's not that different. Once you learn to collaborate and work with a group of very talented people, whether it's for a 30-second commercial or a 90-minute feature, you're kind of doing the same stuff. For a feature, you can't be as hands-on as you can for a 30-second commercial, but it's kind of the same, but it's the difference between being in front of the camera and behind the camera. As an animator, you're in front of the camera. As a director, you're behind the camera. But it's...
And you directed as well.
Yeah, so I consider it all directing. That sounds snotty and obnoxious, but it is all directing because, when we're doing hand-drawn features, you would have a crew of animators that you would be directing. In fact, at Disney's, they used to call them directing animators. Frank Thomas, Ollie Johnston were credited as directing animators, and they would do their own particular characters, and it was the same with our generation. So I would do the genie, and I'd have 8 other animators I would be coaching to do that character. Same thing with Phil in Hercules. Louis the alligator, I only had 2 animators, and we were very, very close-knit. But
And you're mentoring. You're really bringing on animators.
well, I'm old enough to be lucky enough to have been mentored by some of the great masters in the media.
Like who?
Oh, well, one of them was Art Babbitt, who actually led the Disney strike in 1941, but he was a curmudgeon with a soft heart, and he used to have this irascible voice like this. And but when I was working at Richard Williams, he was working there too. And Dick said, oh, your scene looks good. Show it to Art Babbitt and see if there's something that he can do. Mr. Babbitt, this is my scene. Dick says for you to look at it and tell me if there's anything wrong with it. Well, several things. One flip, that's all it took.
My gosh! But people don't realize this about you. I mean, the characters that you brought, Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
You know, Tweety Bird.
Yeah, I did Tweety, I did Marvin the Martian.
Yeah. Like, right.
I'm a complete, geek on all of this stuff. Okay. Where's the kaboom? There's supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
So good.
But I love that stuff. And one of the other mentors I had, aside from Richard Williams, was Ken Harris, who was Chuck Jones's greatest animator on the Roadrunner cartoons, Bugs Bunny cartoons, all that stuff. And the other one was my first really professional job in animation. Richard Williams was directing Raggedy Ann and Andy, and Tisa David was my mentor, one of the great early woman animators, and she did both the characters, Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy, and I was her cleanup artist. But I don't know, I started doing this mimicking stuff, and to a certain extent, it is part of the animation process for me because, you have to feel who these characters are when you're animating them. And I used to tell my students, you should listen to that soundtrack enough times that you could do a credible delivery of it yourself. So that you would know where all the accents were, where all the pauses were, and all that kind of stuff. And some people took it to heart, and other people said, go fly a kite. But, but it was, it's all connected.
It is. It is all connected. And you didn't have to go far, Kim, for the connection. Just talk about what I said, brought you out here and said you're not only a Disney legend, but a Disney legacy. Tell folks about your mom.
Well, both of my parents were actually Disney. My dad was an animator at the studio for many years also before he went on to some other animation companies. But Mom started in the wed model shop back in the 60s and of course worked on many attractions and then ended up being Madame Leota just as kind of a fluke. In those days, and by the way, you guys are all very funny, and I don't do voices and stuff, and I don't know how to compete with any of this going on up here. But so they all worked together in the model shop, and Harriet Burns and Glenda Van Kessel and Joyce Carlson, all these wonderful lady Imagineers, and they were working on this new idea for Haunted Mansion. And Rolly Crump and Yale Gracie had a little tent in the back room where they would try out different ghosts and different projections. And one day they came out and said, we came in today and one of our ghosts was on the ground, and custodial called and said, that janitor is never coming back here again. But Yale had worked out this wonderful special effect. Actually, Crump was helping him to do this projected face crystal ball thing. And they went to Harriet first and said, we think we might want to see if we just do a test. And then they decided that her cheekbones weren't high enough. So they went next, Mom sat right next to her and they said, Lee, let's you try it out. So she was always game. They were a really tight and fun group. They had a lot of fun together. But I tell the story when they gave her the incantation, and I was still in high school. And I came home with my friends, and Mom had come home and was practicing down in the bedroom. Goblins and ghoulies and trucks. They're like, what's up with your mom?
And they used to ask that about your dad too, because you said that he, as an animator, he would look in the mirror and do...
Yes, Dad would do a lot of work at home because, as you guys know, there's a lot of time that you have to work overtime. So he had a drawing board there and everything set up in the den, and friends would be over again, and had a mirror on his drawing board so that he could look in it and make a face like you probably do, and then he'd be able to draw it. So he'd be sitting there going, And again, what's up with your dad?
I disagree with you. You are funny.
Yeah, that's right. You're right about that, Eric. Yeah. Right. And your daughter as well, Allie? Your daughter?
Allie,
Yeah,
yes.
she's an Imagineer.
She is an Imagineer,
Come on.
yes, she.
What is it like to have that family legacy?
Well, it's amazing because neither one of my daughters really wanted to work at Disney. I think they felt that it was just too close. And Allie always said she was going to be a scientist. And then all of a sudden one day, she was probably in 8th grade, she says, I want to be an artist after all. So she went on and went to the LCAD, Laguna College of Art and Design. And then little beknownst to me, she applied for a job at the resort enhancement team at Disneyland and got the job. And they didn't know she was my daughter. So since then, she worked a lot on the new Toontown redo, and so she met a lot of the set decorators from WDI, and so they loved her work, and now she's a principal set decorator at Imagineering.
Yeah, but in Imagineering, I know it's such a family legacy. I know that you're all very proud, but can I say thank you for the parks, because the Imagineers, the way that you had an idea of what Walt wanted at the park, and how did you just approach that? And there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that.
Oh, it's huge. Yes, it's huge because when we make changes at Disneyland, it's not just to make them, it's usually a request by operations or by maintenance or something that they need to have these things done. And so we just do our very best to do it as carefully as possible and within the story, always within the original intent. And I was lucky enough to be mentored by John Hench, who was my mentor for many, many, many years. And when I opened the office down at Disneyland, he would come down every single month. He never missed a month up until about right before he passed away. And he would share with me all the stories. We just walk the park, and he'd talk about where this came from and why this street was built this way, and where the architectural pieces all throughout Main Street. He remembered that one was from an old New Orleans antique shop, and this light fixture was from so and so. And talk about just the psychology that went into designing, the whole park. So, and then we'd go ride Space Mountain twice.
Yeah.
And, he was not a youngster, and I know we'd get in that rocket and the ride operator would go, and I'd say, it's okay. It's okay. And we'd take off, do that ride. It was his favorite because he helped design it. And then we'd get back in the station and he'd go, I want to go again. And I'd go, okay. I'd look at the ride operator and go like this. She'd go, he's good. He's good. And I took the kids on it yesterday. We spent the day in the park.
Yeah.
And my husband said, how did John Hench ride this ride? Why? Amazing.
It is. And this is what I love about D23, the whole experience, because everybody gets to experience Disney in a different way. There's just so many different facets to it. And Alan, when I think about, again, the characters that you brought to life, and just knowing just how you approach it, because these are some, especially the animal characters. Right. It's a very niche role.
It is. I've done a lot of birds now.
Yeah.
Birds.
Right.
I mean, it's a lucky thing. At some point, someone said we should just put Alan in all of them. Now, right? Pretty good idea.
Right. Pretty much. Yes.
It may have been me who said it. You guys should just be in all of them, I think. But when they were doing Moana, they were casting actors who were appropriate for the roles. I'm this white kid out of Texas. There's not a lot of that in that movie. But they figured the chicken. They're like, we got the chicken. And so I actually was in Hawaii when I got the call. And I did chase around a chicken for maybe 25 minutes until I was told to leave it alone by a concerned chicken owner. Yeah, the movie was pretty much done, and I just clucked along. He goes in the water. Did that for a few hours.
Just did that.
Yeah.
As one does, as Susan said, as one does.
Yeah, and then they were like, well, we've got Encanto. You got another bird in you? That one was harder and a little different because he's a toucan, and so I studied the toucan and the sounds they make, and I'm like, I got one of them, but can I point out where I think the others should go? Because you're gonna have to get these, because unless you grew up in the jungles and learned as a young person to make those sounds, I didn't have muscles to make the sounds. So I'm like, a whistle should go there because there's a high whistle and things like that, and but that, yeah, I think that's all I did. I did in Aladdin, there's Iago, and they were just gonna use a parrot, and they ran into trouble. I don't know what. The union, I'm sure. Well, the parrots is a very strong union. And I came along and did the, it wasn't like it was in the original animation where Iago had, get rid of the crackers. He had a voice, he had things. This, they tried to keep me like, he would say things though, like, that kind of stuff. And then the director, what's his name? English guy.
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, that's him.
You guys work really well together.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
He's like, well, he needs to be English. It's like, okay. That's it. So we redid it. More English. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Got it now, you see. So, oddly, and I was very happy when Valentino and Wish turned out he was a goat, but that he did have a voice and he could talk, and that was easier. And a lot more fun. There's a lot more opportunity to express.
But how is it with kids when you meet kids and then they don't know who you are? They're like, the parents are trying to explain, and then you break out into a character, and they're like, ah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the best part, because they do look at you like you're a fraud, or just like
right.
The worst mall Santa. Not buying it, and. It is one where you kind of have to sing for your supper. You're like, hey, have some candy, but brush your teeth. Don't. Boy, your mouth will smell like your feet. And then, like, I had a little girl one time. It was so sweet. She said, I said, but I am King Candy. And she's like, oh, and she suddenly locked in and got it. And I said, I'm very nice. I throw candy at you. It's amazing. If you just want candy, I throw it at you. And she goes, but you're not nice. And I went, and she goes, she's like, I know you. Oh, it made me so happy. It was the play that you get between actors. It was truly the thing was, he was real and alive.
Yeah.
And oh my.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to interrupt here and interrupt because this is the perfect segue. I brought a clip of the first time I animated Alan's voice to King Candy. I don't know if people know that us hand-drawn animators do test drives on the characters before they become computer animators. And they said I should go ahead and introduce this clip and then they'll cue it up. What you need to know about it is that Vanellope is stuck up in a cage, because King Candy had to put her away. because she was a glitch and he'd ruin her game. So that's enough. So if you got the clip queued up, question mark?
It's anything out of order. I take no joy in this. Well, I mean, a little joy. It's small, but it is my sacred duty. So what we're going to do is keep you locked here in my fungeon for the rest of forever. How's that sound, glitch?
Anyway,
Nicely done.
we couldn't see it here, but you guys saw it, okay?
And it was nice what you brought in earlier, Alan, for him, for Eric to.
Well, it's, yeah, nice of Eric to do this. Okay, so when we did Frozen, there's a thing that happens at Disney where they invite you, and it started with Frozen, where you go to Disney in Los Angeles and watch the film. And I think it was like 2-3 weeks out, and it was still unfinished, which is often common. There'll be like huge blocks of white, and John Lasseter at the time is like, "That's a mountain." Also a mountain. But we watched it, and we had dinner. You have a nice dinner that is catered, and he gave everybody presents who were there, and it was all merchandise and like this small batch, like here's your Elsa doll, here's this, and here's gonna be Olaf, and the Duke of Wesselton doesn't have any merchandise. He didn't get a song. No kid is like, "God, get me that Duke of Wesselton doll. I can't sleep without the Duke of Wesselton next to me." No one wants that. For me, he had an animator who had worked on the movie draw the Duke of Wesseling, did like 2 or 3 pictures of him, and it was framed, and he gave it to me, and Josh Gad goes, "We get merchandise and he gets that?" It was real. The feelings were there. And after that, so he's like, "Well, we'll get all of you a drawing if you want one." And like he hadn't thought that would be the greatest thing ever. And now they do it for every film. And so I have a sketch of every character, which is like 14 now, except for King Candy, because it was before he had been blown up by a volcano of all things. And Eric, when we met on Zoom last week, I asked him. I was shameless. I was like, "Please do
Not shameless.
I've been asking for so long. And everybody goes, "Yeah, we'll get it. Yeah, good. I'm sorry, you don't have that yet. We're getting it to you." Yeah. It doesn't, and he just gave it to me backstage. It is fantastic. There's a reason why I didn't get it before now, because it wouldn't have been done by Eric. This is the master. So
that was very special. And Susan, you know what was also very special? The songs from the Disney films. The songs that even, they go beyond the films and live in a different. And you know, whether it's, aren't you the godmother of one of the Disney Destiny, the cruise line? I mean,
They gave me a ship this year, too.
I know, wow.
I know, but now they're regretting it because Alan's going to ask for one.
You know what? Yeah. But talk about how these songs have found another way to live on.
So the thing about doing Hercules is that there were, the Renaissance had happened. There had been Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and, Aladdin and Pocahontas. So going into it, Alan Menken is going to write a song that I am going to get to sing, and you literally freak out. It's pretty amazing. And because we were doing Beauty and the Beast at the same time, he had written a song for Belle unique to the production called Home. And we got to collaborate on that, and that was amazing. And I mean, one of my favorite experiences with that is that he wrote a song had a verse, chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus, end. And we're out of town in Houston, trying the show out before we go to New York, and the show was running long, and it's all fine. We're changing things every day, and I get home really late after tech rehearsals. It's like midnight, and I have a voice message on my machine, back when it was a little cassette tape. And it's from Alan Menken, and he's like, Susan, I just want to tell you we got out of a creative meeting, and I just want to apologize to you that it's my fault. It's not your performance of it, but the song is too long, and we're gonna cut a verse out of home, and I just didn't want you to learn that in front of other people tomorrow, and I wanted to let you know that, like, it's me, it's my fault, and so we're gonna make some changes tomorrow, whatever. And because he cared about, like, this young actress and how I might feel, which is such a testament to who he is as a person. And honestly, I couldn't believe I had a message on my machine from Alan Menken. I'm like, dude, cut whatever you want. That's great. That's great. But then I also had time to negotiate, and I thought, if I play it right, like I'm really upset about it.
Yeah.
So I talked to him the next day. I go, listen, thank you for that message, but I'm wondering, since there's that extra verse that you've already written anyway, can we maybe record it and put it on the album? He's like, yes, because he thought I was so upset. So
We're on to all of y'all.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
we're on to you guys, okay?
But yes, and then with Hercules, he wrote this beautiful soaring ballad, very part of your world-esque, very a whole new world, and it was beautiful, called I Can't Believe My Heart, and they began animating to it, and it wasn't working, and I think it was Ken Duncan, Eric, that said Meg would never sing a soaring love song, ever. The woman is in denial, and Alan went, denial. And he wrote a love song, I think the only one I've ever heard that is in denial about love. And the Muses, it's an argument between Meg and the Muses are like, we're not buying it, girl. And it's an argument that they win, that Meg loses, and that's the framework of that song. Like, I don't think anybody's done that. And it became a bop.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. You just never know. You just never
It
know,
lives
but it lives on.
Yeah, in karaoke rooms around the world.
What's your go-to
Love it.
karaoke song?
It is that song, because I don't
Yeah.
learn any other music.
That's
Yeah.
it. In the time that we have remaining, I mean, you guys are legends. You truly are. But we know, truly, and don't take that lightly. But there had to have been challenges. Had to be challenges along the way. And Kim, I look at you and I think about you, your mom, your daughter, really breaking barriers in a lot of ways with Imagineering, because it was very male dominated. Just how did you overcome the challenges, and what challenges did you face?
I didn't really experience any challenges at Imagineering, even in the old WED model shop in the 70s. A lot of my art directors were women, with Glenda Vine Kissel and Joyce Carlson, Harriet Burns, and Mom, and of course Mary Blair was still working there, and so there were a lot of women working in there. When I took the job down at Disneyland, that was a whole nother world. It was all men. There weren't any women working in any of the crafts, like the paint shop or sign shop or anything. There was, unless you were an office worker, like a secretary or something, there was no women. And so when I came down here, they were like, who is this girl? I had 2 strikes. She's from WED, and she's a girl. Well, I thought, girl, you are brave to be doing this.
Yes.
Eventually we hired a female lighting designer to work with me down there, because lighting had become a big problem. And we just kept going out onto the rehabs and going to their meetings and working alongside with them, till eventually, we became part of the team. So it was quite an experience.
You earned it. You earned it with your talent, your vision, and your creativity. And Eric, for you, what was your greatest challenge?
I think my greatest challenge was Pocahontas, because I'd just come off of Aladdin, and having done the genie, and everybody's enjoying it.
Right.
No, I'm not fishing, really. But finding the tone on Pocahontas was very, very tough. Mike Gabriel initiated the project at the Gong Show, and it was really his picture, but they wanted a second director for him. And little by little, I had to squelch any impulse I had to be funny before the executives would allow me to stay on the picture. It was very, very strange. I'd pitch a board that everybody thought was great, and then we'd put it up on reels, and this one executive would go, "No, get rid of it. It's too Rocky and Bullwinkle." And and it's like, you just saw it live. Now it's on reels, but and so I basically had to subsume any comedic instincts I had just to be able to stay on the picture. Now, I'm proud of it.
How hard was that? That had to be very difficult.
It was very difficult. And, there are times, obviously, when you're doing a picture with people who actually existed in time and space and have cultural attachments, you have to be very careful and very aware of what you're doing. So finding the tone of the picture, and so I tell this story, I'll try and make it short. Bill Racinos was one of these animators who was working on John Smith, okay? And he was standing on the bow of the Susan Constant, and John Smith's hair was flapping in the breeze. And I said to Bill, I think you're gonna have to lose some of that hair because this executive has a thing about the length of John Smith's hair. They call me out into the hallway and they say, Executive X has just left the studio. He's quit. I go back into the room to Bill and say, hey, you know what? The hair's fine.
Love the hair. Keep the hair. Something like that. Thank you, Eric, for your zest for life. And how about for you, Alan? What's been the greatest challenge you've had to overcome?
Greatest challenge I've had to overcome. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. This has all been so fun. I mean,
Did you imagine growing up? Is this what you wanted when you were growing up? Is this the?
no. I mean, yes. The opposite of the first thing I said.
Okay.
I loved cartoons so much as a young person, and I loved Warner Brothers cartoons. I loved Disney, but my parents didn't take me to Disney animation when I was young. I enjoyed a lot of the Disney films that were that were live action. The Apple Dumpling Gang was a movie with Don Knotts. I love that stuff, and so I had Warner Brothers, and I feel like there was something that took place, sort of my proximity to the television screen, the amount of sugar that was in my cereal on Saturday mornings, and just the alchemy that took place, that it fried my brain in a specific way that I remember when I'm acting and when I'm doing things, my ideas that come in a scene oftentimes will have their roots from Warner Brothers, will have their roots from stuff that I saw when I was a kid. And that's that old vaudeville sensibility, the 1, 2, 3 comedy, which is more popular in stage, I feel like. It's useful, definitely physical comedy, and it's what I still do. But to be in animation was never something that I wanted to be an actor, and I strove to do that. Going to school for it and all of that.
Juilliard,
I went
correct?
to Juilliard. Yes, I went to, yeah.
You and Robin Williams.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, Robin Williams, man. Hero. And so I think also with Robin Williams, like, watching Robin Williams, that he's somebody who did voice to voice to voice to voice always in his improv and in his acting, that was something that started me doing that, or gave me permission to do that. That when I started working in animation at Disney, that's really where I started. I had done little thing for Ice Age, and then I really didn't do anything for years until Wreck-It Ralph. And I think my creative process and Disney's creative process work so well together because I sort of learned from Disney. I didn't start till I was 40, really, which is crazy to me, that in the last 15 years, that's where my voiceover career that's where it began and has happened. And it's because of Disney, really, that I have this career. And it was not one that I pursued, not one I aimed for and had to muscle into place. It's just one that sort of showed up.
Yeah.
And so it's been, for me, a lot of play. And they've been so generous. I can't tell you, there's not many places, especially when you're starting out, they give you so much freedom and are interested in your input. Like even the thing that we saw that you animated in the beginning, this is not fun for me, I think was the line. And then this is not fun for me. It's a little fun. It's small. It's not fun. And they would let me just go and play and let the character start to grow on me. And they pushed that. I have a story. It's edgy, but we did it. We did it. It happened. There was a joke that Rich Moore, who directed Wreck-It Ralph, actually it appeared in only one showing of Wreck-It Ralph. And it was, if you know Wreck-It Ralph, it's when Wreck-It Ralph comes out of the taffy swamp and he's covered, he looks like a monster, and we're at the Roth race where everyone can see qualifiers, and he starts upending all the stands, and all of my subjects are running around and screaming and going everywhere, and King Candy is saying, stop it, everyone please calm down. I don't want a race riot on my hands. Because it's a race. And you're right, never mind. And it was in Arizona, they showed it at a screening, and it got crickets. And God bless Rich Moore for being like, no, this is gonna work. This is good. Nope, that did not work. We are pulling that.
Actually, I'm going to do a lousy imitation of you right now, because there was a line also in an early version of Wreck-It Ralph that just cracked me up, but because the plot changed. But, when there was a section when King Candy gets swallowed by one of the bugs, and then gets excreted out, and then gets swallowed again. And you remember. And then at the end of the film, King Candy comes back looking like he's had a My Little Pony makeover. And his eyes are sparkly and he's all happy. And they say, what happened to you? And he said, well, when you pass through someone's colon several times a day, it changes the person. I so wish that line they didn't film in the movie.
Eric. Follow that up,
We're
Susan.
live streaming.
No, we are live
streaming
streaming
right now?
We are. Save us, Susan. Save us.
That's hard to top that
Yeah.
It's great. I feel like, to go back to your challenges, I feel like I am so on board with everything that you're saying. There is something different about this company than any other, and I'm grateful for all work, than any other company, that this has been where the obstacles have not been. Do you know, I am so lucky that I now produce live concert entertainment worldwide for Disney, and it is because they let this young actress who played a character who had adventure in the great wide somewhere, who got to be a reader and be cerebral and be a little bit different than somebody else, they let me be that as well in my own life. And they've always welcomed new ideas. I'm actually astounded with how much they let me play with their IP. I'm like, really, you shouldn't let that happen. But they want the creativity, and I think that's what an audience feels, is that like something authentic happened in that writer's room, that they want to go a different direction. Not through a colon, always.
It happens. It
But
does. It
they're
happens.
willing to try it, and then they make a U-turn. and that's okay too. But yeah, I feel very blessed to have gotten so many years with this beautiful organization.
I feel that way. I've been since 35 years, starting with ESPN. Yes, so I feel the same way. It is fantastic to be able to grow in that. With the few minutes that we have left, what do you want to leave with this wonderful audience, this D23 experience? These super fans they're our lifeline. They really are. And I hope that you all feel that and know that. And so what do you want, each of you want to leave with them?
So it's fun because I get to create content now, and it is exactly what Kim was saying. All we think about, every hour we come back to, what are they looking for? How can we present this in the way that is, in what I'm doing now, true to the original, but with something new in there that maybe surprises you, that lets you relive that moment from Little Mermaid in 1989. Like, you're constantly at the forefront. And I love this expo, getting to meet people and hearing ideas, because we listen and we take it to heart, and it is our honor and our joy to get to travel new directions within Disney to create even more.
Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. I would like the takeaway to be, thank you. Thank you for enjoying all of this stuff. It is you who keep us going, and we do this stuff all for you. And a little ego, but it's I was at a Disneyana convention with my wife Susan and Roy Disney. We were the opening act for Roy Disney after we had done Fantasia 2000, and Roy came out on the stage, and he it was like the second coming, and everybody loved him, but of course they would mob him. First of all, he looked just like his uncle. Okay, he looked like Walt. Second of all, he's a superstar. They're a rock star at a Disneyana convention. And every now and again, somebody would come up and bother him or geek out or something like that. And what he said after somebody left was, "God bless each and every one of them." And he truly believed it.
I just want to say I'm so grateful for how much you all love Disneyland Park. It's so touching to know how much people notice and how much they care about the place. And we don't do this much anymore, but City Hall used to send me letters all the time, and I would read them and really take them to heart and think, where else is there an audience that cares this much to write a letter? My favorite I have to share with you, though, is this lady that said, "Dear Disneyland, I've been trying to bring my grandson to your park for so long, and he's afraid to go on the rides. So last weekend, I finally talked him into going on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride."
They know.
And I told him, Mr. Disney is never going to do anything that's going to scare a child. And we went on that ride. We got hit by a train and went straight to hell.
Thank you, Kim.
It was a favorite.
Yes. Okay, Alan, bring us on home, son.
Yeah, I echo what everyone else is saying, especially about the ride. I just spent yesterday with 3 5-year-olds and 1 3-year-old. They were, my favorite part of the day was coming off of the rides and watching them. It was like they were shot out of a confetti cannon. Wow! And they bounce all around, and they were just, wow, that was the best part of the day. I have had the honor or the benefit of going to a lot of conventions like D23 and meeting people face to face and having conversations with them about their experience with all of these movies. And you don't know when you're making them. You know, you're in a room playing, and you know, the aim is to play, and we know that that's where it works. When we're having fun and it's working for us, there's a better chance that it's going to work when people see it. But it's not until you actually meet fans and they tell you about it, and you can see it in their faces, or in that little girl who knew King Candy, or or tell you about their own experiences with the film, what it meant to different members of the family, or how when going to see a film with someone that it created a memory that they'll never forget, or a connection that lasts their life, and that we got to be a part of that. And I would never know that. We are not privy to that stuff, but I've heard a lot of them, and that I don't know, you can't quantify that. That is amazing. That makes me feel so good, and makes me just feel good about the world. And that's thanks to you, obviously. So thank you very, 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 very much.
And thank you, Alan, Kim, Eric, Susan. Here are your Disney legends for 2022.